What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 4, Episode 3. Was this Episode 3 or was this Episode 4? Yeah, what episode is this? Because I actually don't know. What episode was this of Raising Kanan? This is episode number 3. This episode is titled Bygones. Before we get into the review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, you guys, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of Raising Kanan. Shall we? All right, you guys. So I want you guys to tell me, what did you guys think about this episode of Raising Kanan? So for me, I actually watched this episode when I went out for a walk this morning. I did a whole almost 2-hour walk. So I was able to watch the episode. It was an interesting episode. I will say that much. Now, the episode opens and we start up with the Asians. So their name, I forget what their names are, but it's in my notes somewhere down the line. But those two Asians, right? Now we see Unique. Let's talk real quick, my friend. You're doing the most, Neek. You're doing the most. You're doing the absolute most. So Neek pulled up on them too. Now, mind you, I think her name is Sunny. Richard and Sunny is, I believe, their names. So they taking the trash out, right? While they taking the trash out, they get startled and scared by Unique, who told them to take their asses in the restaurant. So they in the restaurant, Unique is robbing their asses. I was like, damn, Unique, you down bad, buddy. And then he popped them. I was like, fuck, this ain't gonna be good. This ain't gonna be good. Now we see as Juke and Marvin, they're having breakfast with each other, right? You guys remember in the last episode, Juke left the army. So now Marvin is like, what do we want to say when the people get here? Juke is like, don't worry about it. I got this taken care of, right? And Marvin told her, like, you're too smart to not, do anything, right? So Marvin feels that she should at least go to college and try to make some of that money, right? Make that real money. We know Juke's story. She made that real money plus that dirty money too. I'm wondering, y'all know, I think I say this every time when it comes to Juke. I'm really curious to see how we got to the jukebox that we got in Power. Neither here nor there. Now we see Kanan. As Kanan went to go see his grandmother, right? He took her medicine, and Kanan is telling grandmother, like, grandmother, I think everything is going to be good. And she was like, Kanan, baby, you heard what the doctor said. The doctor said that it is spread to my whole entire body and that there's nothing that they can do for me. So at this point, grandmother is expiring. He tells grandmother, I think you should tell the rest of the family what's going on. And she doesn't really want to do that. But Kanan tells her we need to try to start being honest with each other, right? Because he was like, if Rock had been honest with me, maybe we wouldn't be in a situation that we're in. And I love the fact that his grandmother told him, like, that's my daughter and that's your mother, and you still have to respect her. Even if you disagree with what the things she's done, you still have to respect your mother. And I was like, I know that's right, Grandma. Tell that little nigga to, give some respect. Now, we move back over to Jukebox, and the people from the army have shown up, right? And they're talking to Jukebox, and Jukebox is asking for an entry-level separation. They're telling her, like, that ain't how this shit work. That is not how this shit work. They're basically breaking down the severity of what she did by leaving the army and what they could do to her. And so Juke just let them know, I'm gay. I was like, that's one way to shut them up. And they said, you know what? We're going to give you the entry level separation but you shouldn't be proud of yourself. And she said, a motherfucker, you shouldn't be proud of yourself either. And I was like, high five, Juke. A high five her. It's interesting to think about the Army in the 90s, because I think we're in 1991 at this point, right? It's interesting to see the Army in that time period and where we are in present day. Because I feel like we're going back to those times, especially with this current administration. But let's pause here, you guys, and move on. Now, we see Lou. So Lou gets home. B-Rilla is staying with Lou. But originally, B-Rilla was supposed to go stay with a cousin or family member. But B-Rilla was like, yeah, that nigga fucking a woman. They got 3 kids. The kids are there, so it ain't really no room for me over there. And Lou is like, well, nigga, it ain't no room for you here either. And B-Rilla was like, well, motherfucker, I ain't got no money, so where the fuck am I gonna go? I was like, Lou, he makes a valid point. Like, if he ain't got no money, where can he go? Now, Marvin, we see as he rolled up to the Asian spot, right? And the police are outside. So a cop comes up to him and asks him, like, what's going on? He was like, oh, I was coming here, to get my number 76, right? So then we see him as he's talking to Rock. He's telling Rock, like, hey, so somebody, lit up the Asians. I think their names are Sonny and Richard, but I could be wrong. So Marvin has it in his head that the nephew, remember the nephew last week's episode that was stealing the drugs that he told him to drop his drawers? Well, he thinks that nephew is behind taking out his aunt and uncle. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, so you thinking that he got mad at them for what? Like, and I'm so glad that Rock told him, like, Marvin, before you do anything, make sure that you're correct before you do anything. And so Marvin said that Rock said she's gonna call Uncle Irwin. And so she also told him to beef up the security. Now, she did tell him about the feds watching Stefano and that they saw him. And he was like, they probably got me confused with another motherfucker. She says, Marvin, they know what you look like. So Marvin is saying, well, maybe they lying. Maybe they trying to, cause dissension with this. But he walked out the door and I was like, Marvin, look like you shitting bricks, my brother. You shitting bricks. Now, the next thing, you guys, is we see Neek. Neek, you starting to give your brother. So Neek walks out of Kanan's building, right? He bumps into Crystal, and Crystal is like, well, damn, you could at least say, excuse me. So Neek keep walking. Neek turns around, pulls their hood off, turns around and looks at Crystal. That bitch got the ghost. She took off running. And in that particular moment, I actually don't blame Crystal for running. But she ran up there and she's telling Kanan, like, yo, Kanan, like, it was this creepy, scary ass thing downstairs with a scar on his forehead. And I think we need to go. Like, it's not smart to live where you work. And in this line of business, I will agree with Crystal, like, because like, there's some shit, more science shit you got from your father. And she was like, no, that was some shit that I got from myself. Like, so he was like, well, maybe you should go back home to your mother. And she was like, go back home to my mama with her dick grabbing boyfriend. I was like, ugh. So he's handsy with you. And so Kanan was like, well, maybe I have to talk to him. I was like, Kanan, who the fuck are you scaring? Like, let's just be for real. Who are you scaring, Kanan? Nobody. But okay, whatever. Now, we see Rock. Rock is having a conversation with Uncle Irwin, right? Uncle Irwin is, like, what happened with Richard and Sonny, that shit is scary. And, I don't want no shit to happen like that with me. And Rock was like, dude, you live and work on this particular block here. I'm sure you saw far worse than that. And she was like, are you married? He was like, yeah. And she's like, so were we. Like, when you got into this business with me, we got married. So ain't no divorce in coming with this. And basically she's telling him, like, if you try to leave, she told him, if you leave, you know too much. And since you know too much, I'm gonna have to lay you the fuck out. And I was like, well, damn. I guess you're rethinking that one, huh, Uncle Irwin? I guess you're rethinking that one. Neither here nor there. Moving on, you guys. Next up, you guys, Lou. So we see Lou and Birilla. So Lou and Birilla went to go talk to Lowell, and at this point, Lou and Birilla are, more specifically Lou. Lou is asking Lowell to give Birilla an advance on his contract so he can have a little bit of money in his pocket so that way he can get out of Lou's apartment. Well, Lowell's whole thing is like, I just paid a shitload of money for this nigga's legal fee. He didn't say nigga, but I'm pretty sure he wanted to. I'm paid a shitload of money for this nigga's legal fees, and I ain't got shit back from it. So why should I say, hey, let me give him some more money? And Lou is like, here's the thing. Why don't you just help him? Let him get a place. Let him get some food for him, for the baby and the mama. And Lowell told him, like, when it comes to you, Birilla, you make a lot of cracks about me being a Jewish person. And Birilla says, I don't give a fuck. I said, well, damn, this is the man that's holding all the purse strings, sir. You should give a fuck. But he don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck. But Lowell kind of explained his family's history when it comes to, not having it. And it's really interesting when you, never mind. I was going to say something, but I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to leave it alone. But he told him about his family, like when they came over here, people didn't want to give them anything, and they had to basically work for what they got. So Lowell says that he'll give him an advance. He'll write a check, and he'll have people, he had the people give it to him, right? After he listened to the history of him being Jewish. Next up, you guys, we see Rock. Rock called Andre on the phone. She was like, yo, Andre, like, she called him up for something. She needs some help with something, but it went to his answer machine. I was like, girl, that man is swimming with the fishes. And the thing with Unique is, it's very interesting because, you took out Andre. You took out the Asians. These are all people that are connected to Rock. So eventually they're going to figure out that it's somebody that's targeting people that are connected to Rock. Now, they ain't going to necessarily right away put two and two together that it's you, but okay. Now, after she hung up the phone with leaving the message for Andre, there was a letter that she opened, and it was from the high school telling her that Kanan failed out. I was like, well, damn. Moving on. Now, we see Juke. So Juke is at this local college, and there's this guy there that knows her that invited her out to some kind of club. And Juke was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not really feeling it, but I'll think about it. She'll think about it. Next up, we see Marvin. So Marvin went to go pay Sonny and Richard's nephew a visit. Marvin, once again, really thinks that this young man is the one that unalived his aunt and uncle. I was like, Marvin, just think logically. What sense does that fucking make? Because Marvin is just telling him, I know you did it. Tell me you did it. I was like, Marvin, he did not do it. And Marvin didn't catch on that that boy didn't do it until he told him, your aunt and uncle are dead. And the boy said, what? And he didn't know anything about it. I was like, Marvin, that was your first clue that boy didn't know anything. But what really clued Marvin that he didn't know about it is he asked where was their daughter. He said, who the fuck is that? He was like, Clarabelle. He's like, who's Clarabelle? He said, Clarabelle is their daughter. So Marvin said, oh, so you didn't do this. He was like, no, I didn't do this shit. I was like, Marvin, why would he do it? That's stupid. That was dumb. But okay. So Marvin told him, no, Clarabelle wasn't there, and that he's going to get whoever did this to them, he's going to get them and make them pay. And he told them, like, Clarabelle is going to need you, so go check on her, right? And I was like, Marvin, again, 2 + 2. You should have known that, but Marvin doesn't think things through. Marvin gets a harebrained idea in his brain, and he thinks everything that he thinks is the correct thing to do is correct. But whatever, Marvin. Moving on, you guys. Let's pause here and move forward. All right, you guys. So next up, we see Rock. So Rock went over to Kanan's place. You guys remember, I just told you a few minutes ago that Rock got the letter in the mail about Kanan. Well, when she got to Kanan's apartment, he wasn't there. Crystal was there. So she was like, "You're Crystal. Are you staying here?" And Crystal was like, "I stay here and there." And Rock was like, "Well, you must be staying here a lot more than what you're saying because this is the cleanest I done seen this place, right?" So Rock told Crystal, like, tell Kanan when he gets back, tell him I came over here and I'm looking for him, right? And she said, "I will be seeing you again." I'm like, "You sure will be seeing her again?" Rock, just Crystal for me. Y'all know I can't stand Crystal. Next up, guys, we see Kanan. So Kanan is talking to Juke about leaving the army. Juke's whole thing is, maybe I shouldn't have went to the army in the first place because I couldn't really be myself right at the army. And so Kanan was like, "So now that you're back, there's no more secrets." She's like, "I like girls, Kanan." He was like, "I'm happy for you, Juke." And I was like, "Oh, this is, I don't know if it's the accent with him or if it's him trying to talk like 50. That bothers me. It's both of them." Now, Juke asked him, "Where is Fame?" So Kanan says that nobody knows where Fame is, but he has heard people say that Fame is talking to the cops. And I'm like, I'm with Juke. Kanan, Fame. Fame is not talking to no fucking cops. And Juke is like, Fame is probably out there in California with his sister on the beach looking at girls in bikinis and trying to holler at them. I said, that sounds more like Fame than ratting Kanan out. But, whatever. Now, we see Marvin. So Marvin went to go see Early. And he asked Early, like, "Hey, have you heard anything about what happened down at the Chinese restaurant?" So Early is like, "Nah, I ain't heard nothing." And so Marvin's like, "Well, if you do, let me know." So then he asked him, "Do your mama still work, your mama or your aunt or somebody still work basically for CPS, right?" He said, "Yeah." So Marvin is trying to find, you remember last season, Gerald, he had 2 daughters, right? So he's trying to find his kids, right? Now, we see Lou. Lou is at, I think, like an AA meeting. There's a woman that's speaking, and then Lou comes behind her. Rock is also there. So Lou gets up, and you guys remember last season when Lou tried to himself, right? So Lou was just basically talking about that and how he got to that point and how he got himself away from that point, right? So after the meeting was over with, Rock was like, she didn't know nothing about that. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't want to say nothing about it." And, she basically asked him, "Is he good?" He said, "Yeah, he's good. It's a day at a time." And he told her he appreciates her and that he owes her one. And she says, "The only thing that you owe me, baby brother, is to take good care of yourself," right? And then they're talking about the fact that they're going to go to their mom's house for dinner. And they just wondering about the food and their mama more specifically. Now, we see Juke. So Juke went out with those guys, right? Now, when I was walking, the scenes be so dark, so I can't really see everything. But I took it to believe that in that scene, those guys are a part of the lifestyle because they were asking Juke to come, and Juke was like, she's looking for something different and something far away from what she's used to, right? So I'm assuming that that's what that is. Now, we did see Juke as she said she was going to the restroom, but we see Juke as she left and she went to another bar. Now, this bar, she met a woman named Marta at the bar. And so Marta took Juke into the bar, and we realized that this is a gay bar. And one of the girls is telling Juke, like how she started coming to the bar after her parents kicked her out the house. And that's terrible when you hear that kids get kicked out of their house because their parents find out that they're gay. That's so weird to me. Then one girl dated a bartender. They broke up. That bartender got fired. She came back to the club, but now she's dating another bartender. I was like, "Oh, that's messy. Messy, 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 messy." All right, you guys, so we're going to pause here, and we are going to wrap up the episode. All right, you guys, so next up we see B-Rilla. So B-Rilla is thanking Lou for, helping him with getting the advance with Lowell. Now, while they're sitting down eating, you hear Fame's song play on the radio. So B-Rilla asked him, like, "So is he gone?" And, Lou was like, "Nah, he's just taking a break." And he was like, "How you going to take a break and your song is just hot?" And Lou was like, he got feelings. And B-Rilla was like, I got feelings too. And Lou was like, "Yo, we all got feelings." And then we see Neek. So Neek went to go pay Early. So Early is like, "Motherfucker, is this the money that you stole from Rock from the Asian people?" He was like, "You've been hounding me about the money, so there's the money." And he was like, "You are playing with fire." He said, do you want the money or not? I guess Early says, you know what? My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. So Early took that money, but he said, you playing with fire? He said, no, I am fire and I'm going to burn this shit down. I said, whew. Neek, 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 neek. Now remember, earlier I was telling you guys that Marvin asked Early if his family members still worked with the system. So he found Amber, who is Gerald's daughter, and when she saw him, she said, Uncle Marvin. So she ran up to Marvin and gave Marvin a hug, right? He asked her how was she doing. She says, you know, I really miss Dad and the other daughter. And Marvin ended up asking her how's her foster family treating her. That's when she said that she missed her daddy and her sister. And Marvin gave her some money and his phone number. He said if she needs anything from him to reach out. Then there was a white woman that came up and said, Amber, is everything okay? And he was like, I'm her godfather, and I saw her in a minute, and I just want to make sure she was good. And she said, and so they left, and she said, bye, Uncle Marvin. And I was like, oh, my heart, y'all. My heart. Now, we see as Rock is doing business, and Quan pulls up, right? So when Quan pulled up, Quan is pissed because he's like, my wife's cousin is dead, and the person who did it, they still walking around free. So Rock is like, you know, my brother, he's out there in the streets, he's trying to figure out what's going on, and we gonna make sure that whoever did this to them, they're gonna pay for it, right? Quan is like, you know, I want answers now. If he don't get them for me, then he's gonna step in and do whatever the hell he gotta do. I was like, ooh. Okay, Rock, what you gonna do, girlfriend? What you gonna do? Now we see Kanan and Crystal. Kanan and Crystal are looking at apartments. The first one that they looked at, they didn't like. The second one they looked at, Kanan liked it, but the white man came in, saw two black kids. He said somebody else had rented it. They found another apartment that they liked. Ooh. They found another apartment that they liked, right? When they liked that apartment, the guy went through the application, but they were like, can we just kind of speed the process up? You know, we'll give you a little non-refundable deposit. And the man was like, shit, whatever y'all want, we can do it. Now, we see Rock. Rock then went to go see Joaquin. Joaquin is telling her, like, he ain't supplying the H in Queens. And she's like, I'm not coming to you for that, Joaquin. I'm coming to you to see who you, since you know people, I'm coming to see who you know that you can put me in contact with so that way I can get that, right? So Joaquin told her about Tremont. I remember the name Tremont, but I can't picture Tremont. I remember that name from, I believe, the earlier seasons of Raising Kanan, but I have to go back and remember, right? So Rock asked Joaquin, does Tremont still come to the city for a re-up? He said yes. So Rock said, okay, well, when is the next re-up? And he didn't say anything, right? The next thing we have is Neek. Neek, sir, you just keep going from creepy to creepy, right? So Neek is sitting outside of Pernessa's parents' house, right? You can see Pernessa up in the window. She closed it, right? And she closed the window. And so then when she closed the window, Neek got out the car, went up to the mailbox and stuck some money in the mailbox for Pernessa. And I was like, okay, cool, Neek. You're still creepy as fuck. Now, we see as the Thomas family, they sitting down for dinner, right? Marvin and Juke were the first two there. Juke is talking about how, you know, grandmother looked like something wrong with her, right? So then Lou and Rock and Kanan show up, right? Now, when Kanan and Rock got there, they were talking outside, right? So we find out that Kanan had been to school since the new year. And I'm assuming this is either, again, I don't know what this timeline is, but Kanan hadn't been there since the new year, right? And so Rock was like, you know, I thought you were going to go to, you know, finish high school and go to college. He was like, that was your plan, Ma. And he was like, you didn't even graduate from high school. And I'm like, but she wants better for you, Kanan. Like, God, Kanan gets on my nerves at times, right? He was like, sometimes I think you're crazy. And she's like, sometimes I think I am too. I was like, Rock, leave that little hard-headed ass boy alone. So they go in the house. They have dinner. The mama is asking Lou how the club is going. Lou told her he's taking a step back from the club, and Shirley's running it. So hopefully I was good with that. She asked Juke how was she, and then Rock was just like, "Ma, what the fuck are we all doing here?" So she told him, "I have terminal cancer," and Rock got pissed off, and she left. Now, honestly, Rock got pissed off. It's not because she's finding out that their mama got cancer. Well, that's the reason, but you don't want to hear that. Even if you don't have a good relationship with your parent, you don't want to hear no shit like that. So I really think that that's why Rock got upset and left. And then to top it off with Neek went to Kanan's apartment. The little man that was there in last week's episode, Neek broke into that apartment and told that man to sit on his hands. I said, I'd be damn, Neek. What the fuck are you doing? What is going on with Neek, you guys? Neek is just, oh, Neek. You're doing a lot, sir. You're doing a whole fucking lot. But other than that, you guys, I can't say that I am enjoying Raising Kanan. You guys know I do like Raising Kanan. This episode was a good one for me. I feel like this episode was, I mean, y'all know I wasn't really feeling episode 1. Episode 2, I was like, okay, cool. I feel like we're starting to get back into the swing of things. Episode 3, good episode. Really good episode. But I want you guys to tell me what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section below, you guys. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video. And until next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And if I forgot anything, which I don't think I did forget anything in this episode, you guys, but if I did leave anything out that you guys want to discuss, leave it down in the comment section, you guys. Whew. So, what we got coming up is, so you guys are seeing this video, and you guys have already saw Love After, by the time you guys are watching this video, you guys will already have saw Love After Lockup. And then this is Sunday, by the way. So you guys can expect Real Housewives of Atlanta review later tonight or first thing tomorrow. Married to Medicine sometime tonight, early tomorrow, and Baddies. Which I be forgetting about Baddies sometimes, but it is what it is. But that's it, you guys. And then tomorrow, Monday, we will have the live review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And also, you guys, so tomorrow is an ortho appointment. So I go in to get my braces, retightened. So I will probably be in a little bit of pain tomorrow. And I think they're going to put another bracket on the back of my teeth up here. Up here, I know they're going to put another bracket back here. So I don't know if that's this week or if that's going to be the next time that I go to the orthodontist. But that's it, you guys. Yeah, like the video again, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, you guys. And until the next time, again, stay safe, take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I will see you guys in the next one.